Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and this one is all going to be about sort of stats on the channel for 2021. I promised I was going to do this one in 2020 and never did. I'm determined to do one in 21, so here we are. And what I've done, one of the great things about YouTube as a creator, as they term us, is the analytics you get from YouTube. And I thought it'd be quite fun to share some of those with you. Who you are, where you're watching from, what country, how many views did we get on Harry's Garage, and which were the most popular videos I did, and which were the least popular videos I did. I'm also going to just look at my sort of Harry's Garage car of the year as well, because I've had some great cars to test this year, and so I'll run through those, perhaps a few predictions for 22 as well. Right, kicking off with the numbers, where I'm going to start is where you viewers are watching Harry's Garage from. And you won't be surprised that in number one position is the United Kingdom. Next comes United States, Australia in third, and we go down Canada, and then Germany in fifth place. So I welcome my German viewers. Thank you very much for watching. It goes right down. If I could put reams of this up if you wanted on analytics, but I suppose my surprising ones is in number 14th place is India, Japan is 16th, and 17th is Norway. So yeah, huge, amazing number of countries are engaged with YouTube, and it doesn't seem to matter that it's obviously an English channel. There is remarkable acceptance of English videos across the world. So that's where you are. Next thing I'm going to say is, how old are you? And in top position is the 45 to 54-year-old viewer. So thank you very much. In second place, 35 to 44-year-olds. Third place, 25 to 34-year-olds. Fourth place, 55 to 64-year-olds. And those four groups make up 2/3 of the viewers of Harry's Garage. And what did you watch on Harry's Garage? So these are the numbers for 2021, the top 10 videos you watched. Number 10, GI Yaris Circuit Pack and the Go in the Ian Litchfield's modified car. Weirdly, at number 9, and it's only been out for I think 4 days now when I took these figures, the Jaguar XJC V12 returns to the garage and the Garage Roundup. That's already in 9th position with 385,000 views. 8th, Ferrari Portofino M Review. That really surprising Ferrari. Hardly ever see it in the media, but customers really enjoy the car, and it's one of the Ferrari's best sellers. And I can understand why after doing that test. Then in number 7, that story I did with Lord Bamford on the potential of hydrogen and going into their sort of digger fleet, how he thinks it is the answer for a big plant and also for HGVs and those sort of things. Number 6, the Mercedes SLR McLaren by MSO. We took that trip out to the Lake District, and that is in 6th position with 519,000 views. And in number 5 position, it is the Ferrari Roma Real World Review. That time I went down to Goodwood and we had the worst weather ever. You seemed to enjoy the video. I was fairly critical of the car, and it was talking back to me, and it was infuriating me the way every time I said Ferrari, its Siri, version of Siri, spoke up and said, "Whoa, what do you want?" I was then told by Ferrari they actually had to put a bit of black plasticine over it when Top Gear TV borrowed the car, because it was also doing it with Paddy McGuinness, and to get around it, that was the only way. There was no way of turning it off. We did review the Roma again, and it didn't interfere once. I think they've done a little bit of software update on it. Number 4, most watched video in 21, is one of my 2020 videos, and that's the Gordon Murray Real Secrets of his T50 supercar. For some reason, this video has proved incredibly popular. It's a long video. I was a bit worried about when I put it out, but you watched it 537,000 times in 21, even though it went live in August 2020. I think it's done about 1.5 million views now. And then another strange one in 3rd position, the extended 2020 Silverstone Auctions NEC Classic Auction preview. The sale was last year, But for what, it is the weirdness of YouTube. Some of your back catalogue videos prove incredibly popular, and it seems to be getting a second wind. This particular Silverstone auction preview video, 630,000 views in all. I just checked back, and it's over 2 million views of those Silverstone auction previews I do, which is, I mean, I enjoy doing them, and it's great to see that you seem to really enjoy watching them as well. And then in number 2, the new Range Rover review. That time that I went to visit the new Range Rover in the studio and had my current Range Rover here and sort of compared both together, sort of overlaying one over the other and see what the differences were. Again, just, it's such a surprise when some videos take off. I really didn't expect that one to take off, but it did. 954,000 views, and that's only since October the 26th. But in number 1 position is another Land Rover, this time the Defender 110 P400 Real World Review. You seem to really enjoy that one. We were so lucky. We had it over Christmas last year, and we had snow and we had floods. And you'll see this from the thumbnail, I thought I'd almost lost it. I went into this flooded field and I suddenly felt, oh God, I'm floating. And I could tell from the front wheels were not connected to anything, and I just put a little bit of left lock on, hoping at some point it might catch the ground again. You'll see Charlie, my son, who was videoing at the moment, you'll see the camera slightly droop because he was sort of looking real world as it was happening, and it suddenly, thank goodness, gripped and I came out. That's one of the downsides when you go into flooded water, you don't know how deep it is. But you seem to really enjoy that video, and it's 1,046,000 views in 2021. That was my top video. So overall, when you add it all up, 29.7 million views in 21 for Harry's Garage, for which I'm extremely grateful. About 10% up on 2020. But the least popular videos I did in 21, just quickly rattling through those, were in the worst video I did for views, Honda XL500R. You really don't like the bike videos, down at 61,000. Yamaha comes next, 76,000. So the bottom 4 videos in 2021 are all the bike videos, and they're around, they get about 25% of the views of a car video. Hence why there aren't that many bike videos. I do them for almost my own enjoyment and just to log it, you know, so people do know what a Cagiva elephant is, for example. But I have to go through my favourite videos of 2021, and there's quite a number. But I suppose in number 1 position for me was that tour around JCB and Lord Bamford explaining why he thought hydrogen was the answer for his heavy plant machinery business and all operators around the world, and also for HGVs, that sort of thing. The heavy load usage of currently is dominated by diesel. He sees hydrogen replacing it in a few years to come. Other favourites of last year, that Lotus Emira, just visiting Lotus and seeing the passion behind that car. That is one car I am so looking forward to driving in 22. I have one on order. I think it's arriving in sort of June time, May, June time or something like that for next year. I think it's just, new Lotuses don't come along very often, and particularly when we're in this age of electrification, we're just not getting these new sports cars, pure sports cars, manual, etc., coming through. So I think that's going to be quite a moment for us car enthusiasts. Another little mention just of electric cars. I only actually ended up testing one pure electric car in 21, that Audi RS e-tron GT, which really enjoyed. I have to say I preferred it to the Taycan, which was a surprise because it's basically the same car, but it just seemed to be better developed, better to use, had a bit more space in it, and was great looking. And I haven't really gone overboard in testing electric cars. They seemed, obviously, there's a lot of other channels out there doing new cars, and they're falling over themselves to test electric cars. But I have to remember what I set up the channel to do. If you look at the tagline, it's to celebrate the most characterful cars via video. And I'm not finding these electric cars particularly characterful. They seem to be dominated. They have performance, they all weigh a bit more. And if I'm actually thinking, well, if I test that car, I can't test that Jaguar or the 993 GT2 I had in. So if you're rationing yourselves to only feature the most characterful cars, That's why there's a bit of a dearth of electric cars on the channel, and I can see that continuing into 23 as well. So anyway, just an aside, that's why there aren't that many electric car tests going on at the moment. So which cars ended up as being Harry's Garage Car of the Year? Top 3. In third position, that Lamborghini Huracan Evo rear-wheel drive. Right at the beginning of the year, had it over Christmas last year, terrible weather, enjoyed every single minute with that car. Nutty, typical Lamborghini style, but that normally aspirated engine, when you've tested a dearth of sports cars with turbocharged engines, Christmas, the performance, the flair, the craziness, all Lamborghini characters, and I really enjoyed that car. Really close to that one, two cars I'll just mention now. That McLaren 720S Spider, very close to the Huracan. I think the normally aspirated engine V10 sort of swung it in the Lamborghini's favour, but my goodness, every time I haven't been disappointed by a McLaren I've tested, and that 720S Spider, huge performance, but so usable, and just the purity of the actual driving experience. I have absolutely adored that car as well. And the other surprise in 21 was that M3 competition. All the media, everything was about the looks of it, that toothy grin at the front, get behind the wheel of it, and wow, it's a really enjoyable M3. A different character, more like a M5 of old, but God, I did enjoy that one. In second position in my list is that Porsche 2-litre short wheelbase, that 1965 little blue Porsche I had from Sports Purpose in Bicester. My goodness, that was an enjoyable car. Just reminded you how special the early 911s were, and what I hadn't realised until I drove that car, how the 2-litre and 2.2-litre versions of that flat six were short stroke, and boy do they like to rev. So the purity of the way it revved at 8,000 RPM, the level of performance was just right. You weren't going crazy fast, but as a sensation, as a driver sensation, it was absolutely bang on. And in my mind, there could even be one in this garage one day, but it will have to replace that Lancia Zagato, because it's a similar sort of car, and I can't wait to get that one back and see how it compares to that Porsche. But in number one position was a car I haven't revisited since I first drove it on launch in South Africa, and that was that Mercedes SLR McLaren by MSO. That week we had with that car, went to the Lake District in it, floored. I could list of things that were wrong with it, but to enjoy as a characterful car that was a do-everything GT, the sound it made, the looks have really grown on me in that time period. How MSO had modified it, that perfect colour on it, that interior as well, livable, mad, and that McLaren name behind it, and the extra specialness about it, I hugely enjoyed. And could it tramp down the road when you lit it all up? It was a slightly scary thing, the supercharger scream coming back at you. So there you go, there's a quick roundup, end of year digestion of all the numbers on Harry's Garage. I hope you enjoyed this roundup, a bit different. I'll be fascinated by your feedback. I look forward to 22. I want to do more tours in some of these and get to drive some great new cars like the Lotus Emira, and I'm hearing possibly the Gordon Murray T50 is for 22 as well. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos coming on very soon.